Our next performer, Christina Lee. The first rap song that Christina Lee learned in its entirety was 50 Cents in the Club. And she says, to be fair, that song isn't that hard to learn. She has lived in Atlanta since 2010. Without any further ado, Christina Lee and Hey Ya!
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. But does she really wanna? Can she stand and see me walk out that door? Don't try to fight the feeling, 'cause the thought alone is killing me right now. Thank God for Mom and Dad for sticking two together, 'cause we don't know how. Everybody, here we go. At all. Always together, always stick together. But version's always better when the nothing's involved. Oh, they say nothing lasts forever. But what makes love the exception? So why deny when you know we're not happy here? Oh yeah, happy here. Everybody, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, We just love that song so much. Hey y'all, everybody.
Okay, so back in April, when Outkast officially launched their festival-hopping 20th anniversary tour at Coachella, marking the first time Big Boi and Andre 3000 had performed together in a decade, one city was conspicuous in its absence from the itinerary: Atlanta. For months, the rap duo's closest scheduled date was at Counterpoint Music Festival in Rome, Georgia, an hour outside the city. This was fucking unacceptable. There was a nagging sense here in town that Outkast had to perform in Atlanta proper, the place where Antoine Patton and Andre Benjamin grew up, finding their voices and giving the city its own. Since 2004's double solo album Smash Speakerbox / The Love Below and 2006's far less successful Idlewild project, they had gone their separate, almost diametrically opposed ways. Big Boi reliably would re-emerge from Stankonia Studios with a new solo album every 4 years, or a few years rather, while Andre 3000 stayed largely out of sight, the occasional transcendent guest verse notwithstanding. I've heard stories of Andre sightings at gas stations, restaurants, dive bars, the mall, and Target. We waited patiently for a show announcement here. One writer proposed a full Outkast week. Months later, a happy compromise emerged. 3 straight homecoming shows in downtown Atlanta, September 26th to 28th. The weekend was officially dubbed At Last. On Twitter, one resident asked Mayor Kasim Reed if that Saturday could be declared a holiday. Growing up in rural Maryland, I was a fan. I was in high school when Outkast dropped their Hey Ya video, and the faces of Johnny Vulture, Benjamin Andre, Dookie, Possum Jenkins, the Love Haters, and Andre, Ice Cold 3000. This East Point native, being whoever he wanted, would come to mind on some mornings when the stench of manure filtered in through the school bus windows, and I thought, I need to get the fuck out of this town. When I moved to Atlanta in 2010, though, it was Outkast's earlier music that grounded me. It proved to be an essential guide to the city. It's where I learned about Greenbrier Mall, yes, Magic City, and the Georgia Dome's still far too recent use of the Confederate flag. On Saturday, while catching a train to Centennial Olympic Park for the weekend's middle show, It was clear people were excited for the headliners and headliners only. "Who the hell is Childish Gambino?" I heard a man exclaim. I struck up a conversation, and soon the guy whirled around to flash his faded navy blue Outcast sweatshirt. Think late 90s Tommy Hilfiger. Nearby, a man in his early 30s asked 3 Georgia State students if they were ready to turn up. They were. In the park, moms pushed strollers through an estimated crowd of 20,000. The intergenerational appeal was sometimes visible on stage too, like when 2 Chainz brought out his kindergarten-aged daughter, Heaven, while opening Friday's show. It was so cute. I spotted 7 different t-shirts with a fitting hook from 1996's AT-Aliens, me and you, yo mama and your cousin too. Once Outkast took the stage though, Andre tried hard not to act as sentimental, jokingly insisted that all of his stage banter was scripted. From the bottom of my speechwriter's heart, he said, "I want to say thank you." He still doesn't possess the same natural showmanship as Big Boy, who 2-stepped into circle with cohort Sleepy Brown and their 2 horn players. And for a split second, I resented Andre for it. Sir Lucius Leftfoot has answered the same questions over and over again. When is a new Outkast album coming out? And has Outkast broken up, as he has performed the same Outkast hits during the past decade of being a solo act? Why couldn't Andre Ice Cold 3000 act like he's game just this once? Then I remembered that I don't even like looking at photos of myself from when I was 19 or 20, which is how old Andre was when he wrote these songs. And then I saw, as Andre took a spare horn and held it over his crotch, how he was actually more at ease than he had been during those notoriously tepid Coachella gigs, where he actually turned his back to the crowd. Tonight, sporting an Andy Warhol wig and a black jumpsuit emblazoned with "Teachers deserve more." He smiled as he wandered the stage in Bill Keane-style random pass and balanced himself on a speaker as if it were a skateboard. Outkast's appeal has tirelessly been described as a mismatched buddy cop film, with Big Boy as a street-level anchor to Andre's spaced-out visionary. Saturday's 2-hour set felt just as balanced, alternating between early Southwest Atlanta dispatches with the electrifying, genre-defying pop that ruled the latter half of their discography. But first, folks had to catch their breath after initial bursts that included nationally beloved Stankonia classics Bombs Over Baghdad and Gasoline Dreams. During AT-Aliens, which deftly balanced both local and universal appeal, there was a blur of 20,000 people throwing their hands in the air and waving them like they just don't care. I tried, I'm sorry. We weren't a tough crowd exactly, but we did have expectations and standards. Behind me was an older woman, likely in her 50s, who crossed her arms disdainfully when Andre performed Hey Ya with girls plucked from the crowd and meant to recall the hysterical fans from the song's Ed Sullivan-inspired video. "That was a little anticlimactic," she announced. "Those girls could not dance." To my left was a woman who called herself a Day One Outkast fan, who was thrilled throughout. "I don't want to age myself, but I felt young again," she told me. And to my right were 4 college students who'd stood frozen during Southern playlists of Cadillac Music's Crumble and Herb until they recognized Sleepy Brown's soulful hook. And there I was, a transplant, who, when Hey Ya came out anyway, had no idea how much Outkast's meteoric rise to pop superstardom would affect their hometown. The whole world had been this tour's usual closer, but instead, tonight, Outkast opted for Stankonia's Hypnotic Gangsta Shit, its first live performance in 15 years, and an elaborate opportunity to invite other, lesser-known descendants of the city's deified Dungeon Family crew on stage. T-Mo raps as 1/4 of Goody Mob. College Park Slim Calhoun was once signed to Outkast Aquemini Records, and a young backbone used to hang out with CeeLo Green at Greenbrier Mall. True story. It's highly unlikely that everyone at Centennial Olympic Park could identify these men in fitted caps, but the third time the hook came around, that barely mattered as more and more people in the crowd joined in. Do y'all really want to know about some gangsta shit? Outkast might have changed, but so has Atlanta. Nearly 6 million people live in the metro area now, due mostly to landmark growth following the 1996 Olympics. The population was around 3.6 million when Outkast entered the scene. The duo filmed its Bonds Over Baghdad video in the temporarily purple and green hued fields of Bowen Homes, then the city's largest public housing development. It was demolished in 2009. The city even has a new crop of crossover rap stars now. Future, Rico Wade's actual cousin, hails from Kirkwood, an East Atlanta neighborhood that was once dubbed Little Mexico and now boasts a craft coffee and beer bar. He, 2 Chainz, Migos, and Young Thug might not always reference Outkast directly, but thanks to Andre and Big Boy, they all approach music as if no idiosyncratic approach or level of fame is out of bounds. Before Outkast took the stage, District 2 Councilman Kwanzaa Hall, who has some rap cred, and that he used to mentor young Killer Mike, addressed the crowd, presenting a certificate signed by Mayor Reed and declaring that from now on, September 27th in Atlanta will be known as Outkast Day. As the group returns to Atlanta to make their highly anticipated homecoming, I salute and thank Outkast for representing all of the ATLians of our great city. The proclamation read, "We may not necessarily get the day off of work, but it is a holiday I will be celebrating nonetheless."
Now it's beginning to look a lot like wood. Follow my every step. Take notes on how I crept. I'm about to go in depth. This is the way I creep my season. Here's my ghetto rep. I kept, to say the least, no, I can't cease.